People think it's not worth saving money because they're so focused on the number versus the behavior. Money is so much more than dollars in the account. It's not actually about
Hmm.
having more or less either. So people will focus too much on the money side of things versus focusing on the intangible things that could create you money later in life. Our number one currency is our time and our energy. Treat it that way. You can make no money for 20 years and still become a millionaire later in life, but you can't ever get those 20 years back.
Have you ever had shame around money? If so, you're not alone because I've been there too. And in today's episode, you are going to hear from Jesse Robertson about the most effective money habits that you can set up for yourself so that you can finally experience the freedom that you desire. Let's begin. Welcome to Resonance, the podcast for high performers and entrepreneurs who want to do life, work, and success differently. I am your host, Viktoria Levenberg, and I am obsessed with efficiency, productivity, and planning in a way that harnesses your energy and your natural rhythms while keeping you in alignment and integrity. Because I have figured out that lasting success is not about the hustle. It is about being in resonance. Let's begin. Okay, so as a quick intro, this episode is so important because money is the biggest stressor for most people. It is the number one reason for divorce. It is literally driving everything that we do most of the day, like we go to work, we progress in the career, etc. And yet money habits, money behaviors, healthy money management is not taught in school whatsoever. And so I was really excited when I reached out to one of my friends who you will get to meet in just a moment, Jesse Robertson, and got him to come onto the podcast to share everything that he's learned, not just by being in the industry as a financial advisor, but also from a very young age of growing up in a household where money was just another normal topic, which is very different to the upbringing that most of us had. So Jesse and I go way back. We were both young and stupid in the early corporate days, and we used to have a really great time at work and have really great memories. And we both grew up, and he's got kids and a big career change, and we're still in each other's lives just because he's like, you'll see when you listen to this episode, he's one of the most kind, amazing humans that I know. And I honestly love him and his family with all my heart. He is such a light to this world. And so it is really such an honor and privilege to bring him to you as well. And not just to talk about money. Yes, of course, that is important. But as you'll actually see, we're going to touch on so much more, because you're about to hear how you do anything is how you do everything. And so by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what to invest in so that you can maximize the ROI of your two most precious assets, which I won't reveal just yet. You'll just have to tune in and enjoy. Thank you for coming on to Resonance, Jesse. I'm so excited that this is happening. You've been on my list for quite a while, but I was just waiting for the right time, and that time is now. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an honor. And so, for people who might not know you, who might be listening, can you just share a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, and kind of what brought you here today?
Oh, yeah, kia ora, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Jesse toku ingoa. My name is Jesse, and I am a friend of Vic's for I don't even know how many years now. It feels like majority of my adult life. I'm from New Zealand, from the very deepest, darkest part of Aotearoa here in New Zealand, a place called Invercargill. Most people would not have been there, probably have never heard of it. It's a great place to grow up, but also a great place to move away from, come the right age. And then I now reside here in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. Cut the life story a bit short. Grew up in Invercargill. I studied tertiary in Christchurch, New Zealand, my Bachelor of Commerce there, and then I got my first job, just how I met Vic, in 2016. And in typical FMCG fashion, just took the next job. A couple of things happened in my life around 2021, which resulted in me moving from Christchurch to Auckland. And then here I am today. I'm currently working for should be showing the
Whee!
t-shirt for
Let's go.
on board in a financial advisor role, which is a big change of industry. I've been in FMCG for the last 10 years now, and I've transitioned myself into the financial advice space, which is a big move, both personally and from a career perspective, but it's one that I felt like I had to do because when you've been doing something for 10 years, there's only so much more challenge you can get from an industry before that challenge starts to diminish. So I thought, while I'm still keen and young enough and eager to learn, I would make the jump into something completely new. So that's where I am today in April, May
It is April, yeah.
2026.
We'll air around May, but yeah, this is pretty much thereabouts. And it's a big leap, you know. I've told you this in our personal chats, but I honestly just admire the courage that it takes to take such a massive life transition. And I'm sure we'll get into it, but there's not really much of you just got to leap. There's not much of a safety net, got to take the risk and. Yeah. And I will also say to anyone listening here who is like, well, I'm not young anymore. I was like, you don't have to be young and free to make these leaps. I genuinely believe that you could do it. You could have done it in 10, 20, 30 years time.
I agree.
And you probably will, whatever that next adventure is.
I hope I do.
Yeah.
I hope I do.
You are a great role model for your kids in that regard. And so I just wanted to, for people, because I think we'll go into a couple of places, like your story and your experiences and what got you here. And, you're super active on the socials. So I would love for you to share some of your insights around the financial space and just the lack of awareness or the misinformation that is out there. But before we do that, for anyone listening who's like, okay, this Jesse guy, I see him, like, let me check out his profile. Cool. He looks pretty cool. What's one thing that doesn't show up on your official bio that someone would only find out if they listen to this episode? And you share a lot out there, so this is challenging you.
See, I don't know if I do. I feel like I don't share a lot. But the main thing that I can think of is how influential Annalise, my partner, is on my life. She doesn't like to feature a lot. And she's a super private person. She likes to stay behind or stay off camera completely. But she is incredibly important to me and a big part of why I've made this transition. She's personally, like, I guess she is the main breadwinner in our house right now, and she's currently over halfway to being pregnant, to birthing another human. We already have one little human, and she's incredibly encouraging of me. So I don't share that. I don't actually think I've shared anything like that on the socials, but she is critical to my life.
Yes. I know, I echo that on so many levels. Firstly, just to continue to sing Annalise's praises because, know her in my personal life, and she's, one of the closest people. I'm an introvert. I don't have a lot of people in my close circle. So, she's really helped me through some dark times and knows things about me that no one knows. And I really the value to have such a support person, such a rock, is what helps you move forward. And as you've just said, you've taken some massive leaps. She's kind of been so supportive throughout. I feel really lucky in that same space with my partner, Cam, who, bless him, I don't know by what miracle, but he's just always like, yeah, you can do it. You've got this idea. Sure. Let's invest 20 grand in this thing. And I'm just so grateful beyond measure because you don't see that a lot on the grams, the TikToks, the LinkedIns. You only see kind of what's visible or what we choose to show, but often behind that success is a supportive friend, partner, spouse, whoever. And so, I love that you shared that. Thank you for sharing that. And hopefully Annalise is okay with us naming her as well. I'm sure she'll be flattered.
I'm sure she will be.
Should check in with her. And then if not, we'll just bleep her name out and be like, this random person. Wow. Well, who would we be without our support network? Right?
The zero would be no one.
Yes. Oh my gosh, tell me about it. And so, let's tell me more about your big leap. Like, what are you doing now? I know we had a chat just a few weeks ago because I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I get it. You left corporate. What what was that like for you? Actually, before we even dive into that space, like
Mm.
what started to scratch when did the itch start to appear, and what did that look like for you?
The itch started to appear when my son was first born.
Mm,
It was probably appearing before that, but just probably in a less conscious way.
mm-hmm.
But as soon as we had our first son together, it became very evident that, and I didn't know that I would be like this either, but you hear all these stories of parents, of people becoming parents, and they're like, my whole life changed, my whole perspective changed. And I went into parenthood with a lot of preconceptions of what I was going to be like. All of that goes out the window. You have no idea what you're going to be like once
Yeah.
you become a parent, because until you've got a screaming baby in your hands, you have no idea what's going on. You never really know what it is like to be a parent. So once that happened, I quickly realized that punching 9 to 5 in corporate for the next 20 years while this child grew up was not going to be the desired path for us. And so
Mhm.
I guess from there, I started having conversations with first myself and Elise about what our future would look like, where that would, like location wise, where that was going to be. And then I started talking to others about potential opportunities, what people, how do they got into certain things, like what caused them to do different things in their life. And I ended up getting talking with one of my friends who I actually know from the South Island. He lives up here now with his family
Mhm.
as well, but we both know each other from the South Island.
From the
He was
deep
working.
dark Invercargill.
He's not from Invercargill, close. He was from
Okay.
Queenstown, but
Oh, my
basic.
favorite place, my future
Yeah,
home. Yes.
it's a long way. It's most of the way to Invercargill from Auckland. Uh, and then his story was similar. Like he had young children, was working for a bank, punching the 9 to 5, and he went out on his own in 2020. 5 weeks later, the first lockdowns happened,
Oh my gosh.
and so he didn't let that phase him,
Mm-hmm.
and he kept on pushing through, kept doing his thing, and now he's successful in his own right today. He's got 4 children now, and
Wow.
does a lot of is really successful from an income perspective, but also in creating the lifestyle that allows him to do the things with his family that he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he was looking at bringing people on to bring more people into on board. And so once I went on my parental leave, I started to explore that a bit more, did the training, and then it just felt right. Felt like I'd give it a go. Talked about it with my partner Annalise, and then just came to the point where they had to just decide to send it. So I decided to send it. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess the attraction for me in this space, other than the flexibility and the working for yourself, work from home type aspect, is that, as I've discovered, New Zealand is incredibly financially illiterate compared
Mm-hmm.
to other OECD countries, and
Mm-hmm.
particularly within the Māori and Pacifica space, which I am Māori. So
Mm-hmm.
although I didn't grow up in traditional Māori upbringing, having a Pākehā father, and as I've come to realize, I've actually had quite a privileged upbringing in that sense to be able to learn about money, have a family that quite often talked about money, and
Mm-hmm.
to be able to learn those lessons at a really young age, so that as I came into adulthood, I didn't start off with those bad financial habits of
Yeah.
getting into unnecessary debt and that sort of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the attraction
Mm-hmm.
of the space, is being able to help out people to, I guess, challenge because what I found is that money is so much more than dollars in the account. It's
Yeah.
so much to do with the
Mm-hmm.
upbringing and the behaviors that we've been demonstrated with. And it might not just be from family either. It might be from colleagues, it might be from school friends, it might be from people
Mm-hmm.
we've met at sports club. But there's so many influences on money, and you can have millions of dollars and still be trapped by money.
Yeah.
It's not actually about
Mm-hmm.
having more or less either. So
Mm-hmm.
that's part of the attraction of the outside of the flexibility and doing it for the kids and whatnot, is actually I can make a real difference versus my old job of where I was selling chocolate and other confectionaries,
Mm-hmm.
which was a fun job, but
Mm-hmm.
had done it for long enough. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And it run its course, and it's sort of,
yeah,
you learned the lessons and did what you needed to do, and then you had a different calling. And so, like, I love how you just followed the breadcrumbs and you had the courage to sit with yourself and have those conversations with yourself and with others, and being supported by your amazing partner obviously helps. It's I often speak to, in life we need two types of people, which you literally just described in your story. We need the way showers, who are the people that are doing what we want to do, like our role models who we can follow. And we need our supporters, like the people who will back us up and be like, yeah, you can do it. The people who we want to set boundaries with is those naysayers. And we've all got those in our life, but they get to be over there, and we get to hang out with the way showers and the supporters.
Yeah, that's right.
That's exactly the kind of, from what your story kind of just shared there, is what unfolded. And I am so curious because, we actually haven't dove in so deeply into this topic, but as you will probably know, I was recently promoting my Money Mentors program, Relaxed Money, and she played a massive role in my own money healing journey. That's kind of what was the trigger for me to be like, oh, Jesse, I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff on money. Come on the podcast. My money stories, despite being very privileged and growing up in a really wealthy family, were all over the shop. And so you shared just now that, you grew up with really healthy money conversations, and that it was like a specific topic that you spoke about and kind of got ahead of it before falling into the traps that a lot of Kiwis fall into. So what were some of the money conversations and the money talks that you had when you were younger that most people probably don't have?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I don't like, as you say that, there's nothing like super specific that comes to mind, but I just know that it was talked about in every, like, it just wasn't an abnormal thing.
It was just
like
a normal thing.
Yeah, like it was similar to, I'm not sure what rating this podcast is, but like sex was also talked about
It's
a
all
lot
good
in our household. So it wasn't like it wasn't a taboo subject to know. It was never like, we talked about that sort of stuff often at home as well. I think there, as I said earlier, I think it was more about what I observed my parents do. So like, I know, like, actually, here is one lesson that now comes to mind. Like, Dad would always say, never finance anything that's like a TV or a couch or a phone or whatever, even if it's interest free, because it's a depreciating asset. It's not going to grow in value, so you should never finance those types of things. You should never have a credit card. Like, we never, from what I remember, he never purchased anything on a credit card.
Interesting.
Paid a lot in cash, and not because he couldn't. He had business credit cards, but in terms of
it was just part of his money values. Yeah,
part of his money values. And then investing into, I guess, education and reading books, like that came really early as well. So it wasn't really any lessons, more just watching the behaviours of someone who was, and that, just for that to be normal. Because then as I've gotten older and to see that it wasn't as normal. Yeah. As you meet more people, you're like, oh, you didn't have those conversations at home? Like,
what do you mean we don't all live in the same bubble?
Yeah, exactly. So as of just even like well before this work, having those conversations with others as I've grown up, and then now I'm on the accelerated timeline talking to a lot more people about their finances. It's people are now trying to play catch up in their 30s, trying to learn lessons that everyone should have learned in their adolescence.
Yes, 100%. And you've just shared so many important nuggets. Or the most important one that I think, like, anyone listening right now, is the golden words you said. It was just the behavior that was modeled by my parents. So whether we realize it or not, whether you actually have kids, Tamariki, or whether you don't have kids, but you are, influencing others around you, because that's how we humans operate, right? We just constantly looking at what other people are doing. You are role modeling a specific behavior. What is it that you're modeling to the world? And so just that money subject being normal, and your dad being so firm in his money values, and also like money and sex being totally openly spoken about. We've had this conversation before about the interrelatedness of money, sex, and power, and how the three of these themes play in the same space, and often people who have a challenge in one have a challenge in all three, is helped make you be the person you are today to help other people with this as well. Because as you say, common sense isn't common knowledge. And I'm learning this, in my space with productivity and organization, where sometimes I like teach people something that to me, I'm like, wait, you didn't know this like really basic thing? And to them it's like, whoa, mind blown emoji. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's right. We don't all live in a silo. We get to cross-pollinate our wisdom.
For sure. I think it's similar in health and wellness. The behaviours that people have demonstrated as growing up is will significantly determining factor in how they'll then operate in their own health and wellness as they get older in life. And I'm seeing, as I've delved into the financial space, I'm starting to see a lot of synergies along those sort of lines in terms of behaviours and like health and wellness and financial and ambition and careers and people not believing in themselves because they weren't modeled by someone who they were modeled behavior to not believe in themselves.
Tell me more about that. Yeah, tell me more about that interrelatedness, that pattern that you've spotted.
Yeah, I think everything's the same. Everything is in that sense of when someone hasn't learned something. We use money as an example, but they haven't learned about money. They've turned 35, they've got no idea what they're doing. They likely are to carry like a sort of shame or guilt that they, instead of engaging their learning process and think, oh, how can I move forward from this? They just carry some sort of shame or guilt that stops them, and then they just go back. They just default back to what they know, which is the thing that got them there, and that's how people continue the spiral. And it's the same for anything. Like if you're overweight, or your nervous system's completely out of whack, or you've been doing the same job for 15 years and you don't know how to get, like, all of these things are all the same thing, but we just don't have our default is to go back to what we know, which is often what we were demonstrated as children. So I'm just starting to notice those synergies now, and I guess figure out what I'm still doing in my life, because not everything from my upbringing was perfect, and I'm sure if we got
none of us were
podcast and asked her what my flaws were, that it would be me defaulting to things that I grew up with. But it's about for me, it's about challenge. Like, once you have gained awareness to that, actually being willing to be a student again and learn from someone who like you said, is doing what we are doing, and actually applying it in my own life. So I guess figuring out these synergies across all of these things kind of simplifies the process for me to be like, oh yeah, no, I can do that, even if it feels completely out of my warehouse. It's just it's the same process with a different application.
That's it. And what you just pointed to there is this truth that how we do anything is how we do everything. And most people, unfortunately, are zombieing through life, just walking around blindfolded, that they don't see those synergistic connections. But the chances are, if there's a lot of shame being carried around, let's say the financial life, there's probably a lot of shame in relationships. Maybe there's also some workaholic tendencies, like there's also, as you said, like overweight, whatever, all these different things. And not to get too nerdy in this, but I just wanted to briefly speak to it. In the emotional landscape, shame is the lowest frequency. So if anyone is keen, you can go research Dr. David's map of consciousness, David Hawkins, and he illustrates the map of human experience. And shame is literally like as low as it can get. And that is how, unfortunately, because we're speaking here, you and I are pretty privileged. Like, we've got the ability to have this conversation. Yes, there are systemic issues and societal things that place specific people of specific demographics, all the different things at a disadvantage. That is a fact. I'm not dismissing that. However, it is also this shame spiral that keeps people stuck there and keeps people in the world is against me, nothing works, same shit, different day, why bother anyway, may as well just give up. And there is a level of self-accountability that is then required for you to actually take,
Mm-hmm.
your cojones by your own
Mm.
hands and be like, well, what am I going to do about this? Because it ain't just going to magically fix itself, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I actually saw a really good example of that on social media earlier today. It was a guy, he's quite a well-known, he owns a mortgage brokerage company
Mm-hmm.
here in New Zealand, and he was talking about how he's getting at least one call a week from someone in Australia who's looking to buy a house in New Zealand because houses are so much cheaper here versus Australia. And
Mm-hmm.
so like the big narrative here is like, oh, housing's so unaffordable.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's cost, which might be true,
Mm-hmm.
but also for someone else,
Mm-hmm.
New Zealand is a massive opportunity for them. So it's a great example of how perspective is everything, just
Mm.
depending on how you want to choose to view the world.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And speaking of, perspective and choosing to view the world, like now that you've been, you're in on board, you're speaking to people both in the industry and just like everyday Kiwis looking to get out of that shame spiral and finally take their financial health and well-being into their own hands. What are some of the biggest misconceptions or mistakes or myths that you're seeing that you wish you could just dispel and be like, guys, this is what it actually is like? I know there's plenty, but like, what are some of the main ones that you're seeing?
I think the biggest one is that like saving $5 is a waste of time. Like that's the biggest thing I see from people. People think it's not worth saving money, or it's
Mm-hmm.
not worth investing $5 or
Mm-hmm.
$10 or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
seemingly small amount they
Mm-hmm.
might have, because they're so focused on the number versus the behavior, as we were talking about
That's
earlier.
it. Yeah.
And people think, oh, if I save $5 for 2 years, that's only $500.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't realize that over that 2 years of saving that $500, that the discipline, and
Mm-hmm.
you're showing yourself that you can actually do something for two
Mm-hmm.
years. And what if you get better at managing money over that 2 year time?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what if you get a pay rise? What if you start to change some of your other behaviors in your life? What if you cut back on this? What if you increase your income there? What if you start this? They're
Mm-hmm.
not seeing the longer term picture of what that behavior change might actually deliver to their life
Mm-hmm.
outside of saving $500.
That's it. Yeah.
Which probably leads into the next one, is like people will focus too much on the money side of things versus focusing on the intangible things that could create you money later in life.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something personally that I have to fight this every day, because I know that Annalise she's pregnant, and so
Mm-hmm.
she's going to finish work at some time soon, but we'll have enough money to survive comfortably, live our normal lives until the end of 2026. So that's 8 months away. So
Mm-hmm.
we're financially good for 8 months. So I actually don't need to worry about like doing everything I can just to try and make a sale. I should be focused on learning
Mm-hmm.
and developing my skills, developing my knowledge, so I can provide the best overall service. Which seems on the outside of it seems counterintuitive, because my income's gone to zero, my
Mm-hmm.
commission only. Like I need to replace that straight away. But
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy to like laser in on no money is coming into the bank
Mm-hmm.
account, or only half. I'm only getting half of what I used to get, but it's
Mm-hmm.
actually is the wrong mindset, because I already know for sure we've
Mm-hmm.
got enough money to live life. So I
Yeah.
actually don't need to worry about that at all.
No, you don't.
I need to stop worrying about that and start focusing on the things that I know are going to make me better in this role long term,
Mm-hmm.
but also better as an individual,
Mm-hmm.
5, 10, 20 years down the track. Who do I
That's it.
focus on? That person, the successful person I know I can be at age 40, age 50, whatever age we end up living to.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to take your focus off the narrow, short-term
Yes.
thinking of, will I have
Mm-hmm.
enough? Because even when I know I have enough, it's still easy for me to slip into that mindset. So, it's less about the dollars and more about like what you're working towards.
Yes. And I think a lot of people listening to this probably are not appreciating how powerful what you've just shared is. Like if you just like if you just saw this one thing, if this one message resonated, you're set up for life. Is taking the focus off of the narrow, what's the number in the bank account right now, and I need to
Mm,
survive another day, to zoom out and see the big picture. You're set up, because to your point, like in your specific example, your time frame, you're also obviously taking actions every single day that set you up then to land the sale, etc. And again, like speaking from personal experience here as well, right? Like I'm in business for, this is my third year now. I'm still, my P&L is still in the reds. I'm still not profitable. I also cut my corporate salary in half. So it's kind of
mm,
same, but different. And all of that money is basically going into a red P&L. So yeah, that it does. It takes a certain level
yeah.
of resilience and trust in the bigger scheme of things. And I genuinely believe that's why so many people struggle with this. And that's why the success that you see, from the people who've started their business, and or from the financial advisors that are like, have got the financial freedom and doing all the things, is because they were able to master their inner world and get
Mm,
through that challenging time that is going to flush all your stuff up, because I'm sure
mm,
some stuff's already coming up for you too in this journey.
mm. Yeah,
um and through that you become a better person. You learn more about yourself, you learn more about the industry or the space. And you said this earlier, that was another behavior that your dad modeled to you around investing and learning and reading books. I mean, you're the financial advisor here, but I'm just going to say, in my humble opinion, investing in yourself is the greatest ROI you're
mm.
going to ever make, right?
For sure. I could find 100 videos from 100 people in 5 minutes of different people in completely different industries
Mm-hmm.
saying the same thing, because you're it's actually the best way I've seen it put is, I'm not sure if you've read Die with Zero, the book.
No, I haven't.
It's a really good book. And the best way I've recently read this book, and
Uh-huh.
the way the author describes it is the experience dividend. So we often talk about the financial dividends of, you save $1,000, you invest it at 7%, that will pay a $70 dividend, you reinvest that, and then over 30 years, that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of thousands, whatever that number ends up being. But he says no one ever talks about the experience dividend, where that be you do a training course, and then
Mm-hmm.
that course ends up meaning you can sell tens of
Yeah.
millions of dollars of products, or
Mm-hmm.
it gives you go and climb Mount Everest, and that allows you to meet a person, or you go to a
Yes.
conference and you get involved with a group of, like, all these types of things. No
Mm-hmm.
one ever talks about the experience dividend that pays long term, because
Mm-hmm.
all, again, as we come back to like, all people are focused on is that financial, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
what's my financial ROI there? Well, sometimes the
Yeah.
ROI is not as
Mm-hmm.
evident or
Yeah.
as clear cut as the experience dividend, but more often than not, the experience dividend will pay a far greater dividend
Mm.
over time than that financial one.
Yes. 100%. And I love that experience dividend. I'm going to definitely kind of have that one stick with me.
It's a very good
The
book. I would recommend to
Die with
anyone.
Zero.
Die with Zero. Yeah, I can't remember the
Okay.
guys. I can't remember who wrote it, but I've recently read it, and it's changed a lot of my, well, not changed. It's kind of honed a lot of my perspectives around money, and how I spend the greatest resource that we have in our life, which is our time.
Yes, thank you. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, what's he going to say? We're about to get into a debate here. I was like, phew, we're on the same page.
No-
Who would have thought?
yeah.
That is, oh, and I actually, like, that's probably another misconception right there as well, right? It's like we
Mm,
live in this world that's conditioned us so much to value money above all else in this consumer culture, when in reality, your time and your energy are your greatest assets. Like,
mm,
money's pretend. We can create more money on demand, literally. Like, just
literally.
boom, you print more. Like,
Exactly.
ta-da! And yeah, again, it all comes back to, as you say, having the ability to see that bigger picture, and also like lean back and let go of, loosen the grip on the steering wheel a little bit, and just trust that
Mm.
even if things are a little bit harder right now, even if things aren't making quite all the sense, chances are any of you listening, or even, you and I, Jesse, right now, can look back at our life 5, 10 years ago and identify specific moments where like things were really rough and we thought there was no way out. And now you're like, oh, if it
Mm.
wasn't for this, I wouldn't have this, this, and this, and this in my life. Like, that's the experience dividend here in real time.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on my classic 5 years ago, I was just breaking up in my first marriage, and then, but if that breakup had never happened,
Mm.
I wouldn't be in Auckland. I wouldn't be doing this right now. I don't even, I have no idea what I'd be doing. I'd probably still be doing the same old job
Mm-hmm.
that I was doing 5 years ago. I wouldn't have an amazing partner, a second child on the way. I wouldn't have, there's so many things that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have
Mm-hmm.
gone through that
Mm-hmm.
seemingly life altering, or life altering in a negative way moment,
Mm-hmm.
when it actually altered my life in such a good way
Mm-hmm.
now that I look back 5 years down the track.
Yeah. And it's always easy to say it with hindsight, it's still, it doesn't
Mm.
dismiss the fact that it's hard when you're in the moment. So like anyone going through the thick of it, you're like, yeah, whatever. But it's just know that
Yeah.
there's hope.
But I think with these days it's almost different, because you see, if I went on YouTube right now and typed in why should I have hope for the future, there would be so many documentaries of people that have come back from far worse situations, and they've come from, they've had no parents, they've had no money growing up,
Mm-hmm.
and they end up becoming LeBron James, or a
Mm-hmm.
super famous actor, or there's so many of these stories. We have so much access to information these days that
Mm-hmm.
we can curate the perspective that we want to have, where that wasn't always possible.
Mm-hmm.
Even 20 years ago, in 2006, before iPhones, before
Mm-hmm.
mainstream internet, like there wasn't those options there. So we live
Yeah.
in a privileged a privileged time in that aspect,
Yes.
that we can
Yes.
literally create the perspective that we want to have, even if we don't believe it right now, because
Mm-hmm.
we can funnel all the voices of what we want into our life, where
Mm-hmm.
it's never been possible ever before.
Yes, it is a really unique time. And that's really like one of the missions of this podcast as well. It's to help others hear other people's stories, hear the hope, see themselves in a little nugget, so that they're like, well, maybe even if that's not my experience yet, here's this other way shower that's done it before me. Um, and something that came through as you were sharing that is the responsibility that comes with that privilege as well, because just as much as we have access to choosing what we expose ourselves to and have it support the mindset we want to have, it also runs the risk of falling down some dangerous paths and needing to really use our discernment. So, a lot of people's feeds and algorithms and whatever are just full of garbage,
Mm.
unfortunately. And just something to think about. I don't think ours are, because we're very specific about these things, but it just seemed important to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard, I can't remember who said it. They said that the algorithm is often a mirror
Hmm.
reflecting back at us what we want to see. People are
Hmm.
quite quick to blame the algorithm, but we can literally alter it in 5 minutes of
Yeah.
searching for positivity or
Hmm.
motivation or whatever you need, whatever the thing is that you
Exactly.
need. You
Exactly.
can find it.
Just go on Jesse's channel or my channel, and it'll instantly
Yeah.
like, I will never forget. There's an ex-colleague of ours, who, I think we were chatting about social media and stuff, and they're like, oh, your algorithm sounds nice. How'd you do that? And I was like, it's just like, that's my life. And then a couple of weeks later, they're like, oh my God, I looked at some of your stuff and then my whole feed changed. I was like, cool.
How good is it?
You're welcome. Like, yeah, it's that all that sunshines and rainbows now. I can't get rid of it. Sorry.
That's so
Yeah,
good.
fun times, fun times. Oh my goodness. If you're enjoying this episode, you will love my free newsletter, Flourish Weekly. It is an email that you actually want to read, and you will be the first to hear about new offerings, events, and upcoming episodes of Resonance. The link will be in the show notes below, and you can also sign up through my website, victorialevenberg.com, or by heading to the link in my bio on Instagram at Viktoria Levenberg. Now, let's get back to the episode. And look, as you know, we sort of look at the importance of managing our energy, managing what we expose ourselves to, etc. You know, like a lot of the people who I work with, I talk about, yes, productivity and efficiency and planning, but it all actually comes back to our two most valuable assets, which you just named earlier, our time and our energy. And so how do you manage your time, your energy, your calendar when life gets pretty busy and overwhelming?
I think the best way I have for managing my own energy is to give my best moments to the people that I love the most, which also helps me because I'm an extrovert, so I get energy from being around others. So
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that when I focus on giving as much, my best of me that I have, not to clients,
Mm-hmm.
not to computer work, not to the lads, not to my hobbies, but giving that
Mm-hmm.
best energy to and all that focus to my family. Um, that gives me so much more energy than I then can, channel into my personal training. So whatever uh,
Mm-hmm.
event I'm training for, or then the other friendships that I have in my life that I used to, and then work after that, because whether whether I make millions of dollars of this job or whether I make sweet FA, it's not going to change anything
No.
around my family. And so they're the
Mm-hmm.
people that they deserve the best. And I'll actually be the happiest because, that in terms of, like I said before, with the experience dividend, they're going to be the ones that give me the best return over the course of my lifetime. So that's, I guess it all stems from there. Like
Yeah.
I want, I don't want to just be with my son and be there but not present. Like
Mm.
I'm watching everything he's doing. I want to be noticing if he learns one little thing at daycare, I want to know what that thing is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be involved in Annalisa's mahi. I want to be involved in how she's doing with her pregnancy. I want to help her out with whatever that is, whether it's giving her a space or whatever. I want to be
Mm-hmm.
doing all of those things that I can to be the best partner and father that I can. So, and then from there, everything else is kind of just a bonus because I know that I've
Mm-hmm.
taken care of number one,
Mm.
and everything else from life is a blessing from there, I guess.
I'm tearing up here because this is like really touching me. Um, oh, yeah. Um, you are such an example of someone that's living life in such alignment with your values and what's important to you. Like, I think that's why the emotion came up for me so strongly. And like I jokingly say this, but I really mean this. And if your partner's listening to this episode, she'll probably giggle. But I see the two of you and your family unit. I like project my dream family onto you guys. So like the two of you are the parents that I wish I had. Like everything you've just said about giving your best moments to those who matter to you the most, and how like being a present partner and father and seeing that experience dividend pay out over time, like, oh, I mean, I don't know what your mama did to raise you, but she raised this boy right.
Oh,
And I know Annalise embodies the same values as well. And it just shows up in everything that you do, because as you say, you then ripple that out to everyone around you. And like for people like me who maybe don't have that experience, or it's not as familiar, it's not the common sense that you grew up with? Like, can you explain what that practically looks like in your day-to-day life?
Oh, I don't even know. Because you're right. It's so ingrained into me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I did hit the jackpot with my mother, because she is an incredible woman, and to have seen what she's experienced. I think mum has given me so much perspective on life, because she's seen like the lowest of lows, and she comes from a rural Māori
Mm.
background, like not an ideal upbringing. She's had multiple marriages,
Mm.
different, so many different things. Like
Mm-hmm.
I could write a series of books on her life, and then just to see the way, like even right now, she continues to go through different things, like
Mm.
as she's in her 60s, but she continues to live life with such a zest and
Mm.
such a passion, and it's such a freedom
Mm-hmm.
that it kind of leaves me no excuse, because my situation compared to hers has been infinitely better. So what's
Mm-hmm.
my excuse to not have the same passion for life, that zest for life, the love for everyone that she talks to,
Mm-hmm.
the yeah, just that same way that she lives. So I mean, what that looks like on day to day is just trying to be like my mum as much as I can. You know, I'll
Mm-hmm.
say hello when I walk to daycare, which is about 800 meters up the road. I will say hello to every single person along the way. I'll talk to every parent. I'll try and talk to as many of the kids as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll go to the supermarket, or I'll go to my local fresh shop on the way home, talk to the owner there, say hello to a
Mm-hmm.
couple of other parents. Like it's less. I guess it's less about the things that happen, and it's more for me. It's more about like seizing every moment for what
Mm-hmm.
it is,
Mm-hmm.
and the moment is always it's always the one moment that we have, and so like I don't think there's any dull moments in life. There's just the moments that we let be dull. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we can make any moment fun or exciting or
Mm-hmm.
relaxing or whatever we need it to be at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and we just have to decide it that we want it that way. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question or not, but
It does. I
uh,
think what, to any of the skeptics listening, like what I just heard you say is it's not so much about what you're doing, but it's who you're being as you're doing the doing. And
that's
that
what,
is
yeah.
such a core essence of my work,
Mm,
as well as it's all connected. And you can be doing, you can have two people doing the exact same thing. One is having the time of their life because they're tapping into that life
mm,
force, the zest for life, which,
mm,
by the way, is very much connected in the sacral chakra, which is connected to money, sex, and power. Hint, hint.
okay.
Or you can sit there and be miserable and complain, again connected to the sacral chakra, money, sex, and power. So as you
Yeah,
said earlier, it's
yeah.
also intertwined. And we again circle back to this role model, what behavior was shown when you were younger. And your mom, I mean, I haven't met her myself, but I've, heard of her many, many great things. Weena sounds like just an amazing, amazing person.
Cheers.
Yeah, she's superstar. I mean, what, four kids, four boys, five?
Five.
Five.
Yeah,
My goodness.
yeah.
And y'all are rowdy. Like Jesse's the well-behaved one of the crowd, everyone. So yeah. Um
Doesn't say much.
that's true. Wow. And so if someone listening to our conversation here today, they're like, wow, a lot of really great insights. What would be the one thing that you wish they walked away with and held on to for long after this episode ends? If there was just one thing that resonated that they could take with them
Mm.
from what you've shared today.
I think if there was one thing, and this is incredibly recent in my life as well, that I'm working on, is that like our number one currency is our time and our energy, as you've said. So treat it that way, because you can
Mm,
always gain you can make no money for 20 years and still become a millionaire later in life, but you can't ever get those 20 years back. You cannot get those moments back. So get your eyes off the money and start focusing on the moment, what you can do in the now, but how you can enjoy the now despite cost of living crisis and housing crisis and war in Iran and war, like whatever it is, because we have so many, particularly here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, we have so many things to be thankful for. So that would be the one thing.
Yeah. And that one thing is the thing that once you take with you, it sets you up for life, because what you've just said literally highlights that there is no there. Both you and I have had experiences with, whether directly or through family, colleagues, etc., people who earn 7, 8, 9 figures, and they're miserable. So we have real life proof. Like, anyone listening right now, take it from me, take it from Jesse. Money does not mean happiness. Money does not buy you success. You can choose right now to be happy, to be successful. And the hack of the universe is that once you actually tap into that state of being that we were just speaking about, all the other things flow effortlessly or much easier.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like when you have that moment, it would be like an awakening to your whole life, because you'll realize the things that you stressed about were complete, that they were not events. They literally did not matter in the slightest. But humans have bad habits of making bigger deals out of things.
And that's why we all need our support network, whether it's family, friends, colleagues, a coach, a mentor, a therapist, whatever, whoever. Right. Speaking of support networks, if someone here is like, okay, Jesse, help me fix my money problems, how can they find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you? Like, what are the services that you offer? Can you just share a little bit more about that?
Okay, I can. Yeah, in terms of, I guess, professional services, I do look after residential lending and life and health insurance. So very, very specific in terms of the products that are offered. My screen's going down. And you can find me on TikTok, social media. It's not social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I think I'm on YouTube as well.
Oh, are you? You got a YouTube channel now. Damn, boy.
I'm just posting on YouTube Shorts because it's an easy upload, which gets a surprising amount of views.
I know. I'm like, who are these people?
I watch YouTube Shorts. That's the only reason but you can just get in touch with me on my cell phone, which is in all of my bios on my social media.
You might want to rethink that in the upcoming future.
Yeah, I think it is Jesse Robertson on Instagram. I actually don't know I'm really bad at social media. I don't know any of my.
You're great at social media, but I'll make sure to link it all up in the show notes anyway. So you're on all the socials. You're in the DMs as well,
in the DMs, right? Yeah, you can WhatsApp me, text me, call me, whatever.
And you're really open to just having a chat as well. Like if someone isn't necessarily looking for specific personal lending or life insurance, but they're just like, hey, Jesse, I heard you. Can you explain this to me? I've actually got a lot of shame and I don't have someone that I can trust and reveal all my money secrets to. 100%.
I think that's probably the biggest misconception. This is very New Zealand specific about the financial services industry. I think there's been a few cowboys in the past that have, I guess, mislabeled. I got financial advisors a bad name, but I know myself that there's plenty of other people that would happily have the conversation of how you can get out of debt or how you can start to build an emergency fund or do whatever the thing is that you need to do based on your situation. There's like so many people that would have that conversation. I'm one of them. But obviously, I can't talk to all of New Zealand. There is people all across the country. So if you're someone out there and living in the middle of nowhere, there's probably someone within a 30-minute drive that would happily have the conversation with you and help you get from where you are to where you would want to be. That's one thing people don't do enough. people in New Zealand would say, "Oh, I want to buy a house," then go talk to someone now. When what they should have done is talk to someone 1 or 2 years before that. Go,
Mm-hmm.
oh, how can I prepare myself
Mm-hmm.
to get ready to buy a house?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you think you're ready, you're probably still not
Yeah.
ready. So,
Yeah.
but there's people who would have that conversation with you 1 or 2 years out to prepare you for that situation as well. So
Mm.
there's I am just one of those people in the chain, but I know there's many of us out there that would be willing to have that conversation. So if you don't want to talk to me, I'm happy to find someone that in
I'm
your
sure
local
if
town or your
someone's
local
like
area.
I'm sure if someone's still listening to this episode, they're like, yeah, Jesse, there's something about you. Let's have a chat. And also great that you've got a great network. Yeah. Yeah. It's speaking and naming something out loud is the fastest way to dispel any shame whatsoever.
That's right. Yeah.
So, and I've often found that doing that with a stranger is easier than people who are like super close to you because there's less
Mm,
of that attachment to what will they think of me. So
mm,
again, that's why I've been such a huge advocate for like the relaxed money community and stuff, because like telling someone on the other side of the world all my money secrets felt much safer than like revealing it to the closest people in my life.
yeah. Whatever gets the job done, eh?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then over time you build up the resilience. So
Yeah.
wow. Oh, what a conversation. It's anyone listening, by the way, like this is just like a normal chat for Jesse and I. Like we just doesn't take us long and we just go straight to the core.
It doesn't, yeah. This is another Wednesday chat.
Just another Wednesday chat. So thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. This has been awesome. I'm honestly so grateful. And I hope that anyone listening here today, you've got at least a little shred of inspiration, hope, and the right next step as to how to take care of your money and your life, because that's actually what matters more.
Amen, sister.
Amen. I loved this episode so much, mostly because it's just like another conversation for Jesse and I. He's such a dear friend. And yeah, if you're wondering what our chats are like when we meet up for lunch, this is basically what it is. We just like dive straight into the deep, meaningful conversations. And look, some of the key insights from my side and reflections that I just wanted to share with you was, firstly, having the big picture view rather than just being so laser focused on what's right in front of you in the short term. Like Jesse took a big leap, yes. And also it was a calculated risk. Like he didn't do it overnight. And those of you that are listening and kind of have been in my world for a little bit, you'll know that I talk a lot about planning and sort of having the big picture life vision plan that then funnels down into your day to day. That is effectively what Jesse's just demonstrated in action, because there is no way that you can just be in survival mode going through day by day by day and achieve and make these big leaps and decisions that, might not pay dividends for 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years time if you don't have the ability to zoom out and take that step back, which is why I love the planning framework that I teach. It does it for you. So that kind of really, really resonated with me. And the misconception that Jesse spoke about, which was, the misunderstanding of money versus money habits, is one that it actually took me a really long time to realize as well. So I was one of those people that was like, oh, what's a $5 investment going to make? And then I realized that like, oh my God, that matters, because it's not just about the $5 going into the savings. It's about the habit that you're doing. So you're doing it consistently, regularly. That evolves over time and it develops self-efficacy for you, which is that trust in yourself, the trust that you can do this. All of a sudden, the 5 grows to 10, grows to 50, grows to 500. Next thing you know, you've got an investment portfolio. That's literally how I started. And here's the trick. So this is legit like how I got myself to start to invest regularly. It was inspired, of course, by my financial mentor, Kate Northrup, who I've spoken a lot about this podcast, on this podcast previously. And she was talking about like how she gives her kids pocket money. And the strategy that she does is, I think they get their age in dollars every week. So like her kids are maybe 7 and 11, so they get like $7 and $11 each week. And then as they get older, that grows. And she's got a really cool strategy, by the way. Like if you have kids, I definitely recommend you follow her. She's so smart with how like she's already teaching them at such a young age on, okay, so you put it into 4 different jars, and like this is your spend, this is your save, this is your invest, and this is your give or donate. I love it. So great. Can't wait for this future generation to become the leaders of tomorrow and just like fix our world. In the meantime, we're doing what we can here. So anyways, I got off on a little tangent here, but I was inspired by the idea of her using her kids' age as a investment strategy. And I was like, oh, what if I just put my age in dollars into my investment account? And so like every week, that's not that much. And so I just set up a recurring payment into my Sharesies account, and then boom, and it goes out. And all of a sudden now I've got this, 5-figure investment portfolio just in a couple of short months. And so that was fun. And then because I developed that habit, all of a sudden I was like, oh, well, what if I also put this into a high yield savings account? So that's going to build into my cash cushion. Okay, what feels doable? This $100. Cool. Start with that. And then boom, boom, boom. Over time that grows. Again, 5 figures. So it really, like, even if it's $1, anyone listening to this episode, if you're listening to this episode right now, no matter your circumstances, you can start to invest and save for your future, even if it's with just $1 a week. So, and before you get in your head, if you're like, no, I'm too old for this, I should have started yesterday. It's like, great. Yes, maybe the best time to do this was yesterday. And do you know what the second best time to do this is? Is right now, today. I keep having the same conversation with my mom, with my partner, whenever we get into, shoulda, coulda, woulda, it's like, great, shoulda, coulda, woulda. And also let's take action, because otherwise you're going to be shoulda, coulda, woulda-ing all over yourself tomorrow. So that's my little riff on kind of the habit versus the money itself pattern. And the last couple of things that I just wanted to share with you were the experience dividend. So, the non-monetary value that you literally cannot articulate, and you can't actually necessarily see in the moment that it's happening, but only once you look back in retrospect. And when Jesse was giving the examples of like, going on a walk and meeting this person, and going to the conference where you connect and have this, or you're in the right environment to have the $1 million idea drop in your head, the amount of times I've had these experiences, like I've got goosebumps going through my entire body right now, which as an intuitive, that's just like my sense of, this is a capital T truth that we are talking about here. I can just see that a little trail of breadcrumbs that has led me to where I am today. And had I not invested my most precious assets, which are my time and my energy, in those specific things, no way would my amazing brain have been able to put 2 and 2 together and bring forth some of the things that are happening in my life right now. So yeah, really love that. I'll make sure to research the book that Jesse mentioned as well, and I'll link that up in the show notes for you. I'm definitely adding it to my reading list. And the reflection that Jesse shared around, how he manages his time and his energy. And like, I was like, managing my emotions, I'm going to put my hand up. I'll deal with them later. I have my own emotional metabolism practices, but I couldn't hold the tears back, because as soon as he started talking about how he gives his best moments to those who matter the most, like what a role model for humanity. And as I'll say it, I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll keep saying it over and over, specifically to Jesse and Annalise, is like their family unit. And I know we've all got our stuff to work on, right? Like no one's perfect, but their family unit to me is just such a role model of like the epitome of what family means. They're just the most amazing, loving, kind-hearted humans that genuinely care about you. And that really shows up in everything they're doing. And as he spoke about it, like when pressed on what does that practically look like? It's like, it's actually not a thing he does. It's just who he's being, which kind of is exactly what I've been trying to get to in this podcast with you guys as well. So as cliche and as woo-woo as it sounds sometimes, there is some rhyme to the reason of this, identity work that we do. So my invitation to you this week would just be to actually take stock and reevaluate where it is that you are investing your most precious assets into, as in, where is your time and where is your energy going? Are those best moments being given to those who matter the most, or to what's most important to you? And maybe if not, then does that portfolio need a little bit of reevaluation? Because the most fruitful investments that you will ever make for the health of your life, both financially, physically, and energetically, are your time, your energy allocated in alignment with your values, your why, and what matters to you the most. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring this to you. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and I can't wait to speak to you next week. Bye for now. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start seeing real results, then I created something just for you. My brand new free masterclass called Peak Productivity Secrets is designed to help you double your results, reclaim your time, and boost your energy so that you can finally get back to doing the things that you love. And I will be sharing the exact planning framework behind all of it that I usually only share with my clients in my paid programs. So to sign up, just click the link in the show notes below or head to my website, viktorialevenberg.com. It is completely free and I would love to have you in the room. That's true. That's true.
Wait, are they real plants in your background?
Yeah. I've got a little, the name evades me. And then this is a little, now I forget both of their names, but this guy's freaking massive. It's like almost a tree at this point.
I have no idea about those sort of plants. Do you have any snake plants?
I have a rattlesnake. Yeah.
Is that the same as a snake?
I don't know. What is a snake?
A snake plant.
What does it mean?
A snake plant's like the type of plant. Apparently they're good indoor plants.
Okay.
Because they like detoxify the air or something.
Well, that's all plants.
Yeah, but no, there's something I don't know specifically. There's something specific about snake plants that
okay, I'll have to look
do
into
something
it.
For the look it up. I don't know how legit.
Do you guys have any?
Yeah, I have a couple of snake plants.
Yeah.
My mum
so you
gave
should
them
be
to
able
me.
to describe them.
They literally look like the leaves look like snakes. In the sense that they're like patterned.
I'm just gonna Google it now because otherwise it's gonna be in
Google.
the back of my mind, and that's not good. Oh, those ones. Yeah, right. Yeah. I never knew that. I just saw them as like one of those typical houseplants that are really hard to kill.
Yeah, they are impossible. Like mine are growing like weeds right now. They're
amazing,
huge.
Oh, I love that.
But then when you have a big house, it's actually so impractical for living if it's too much space for living. So, and I just thought of that because like it's so easy to quickly rip off to my sink because we have like it's not a massive space, but it's not a sort of tight. It's like an adequate space to like do those things and just quickly run to the kitchen. Where some people have to like walk half a kilometer down to the other end of their house to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you also accumulate so much stuff when you have. So Cam and I used to have a 3-bedroom before we downsized to this place. And we had to get rid of like 3 carloads of stuff. And it's like, I don't even know where it all came from. It's just because the universe loves a vacuum. There's that just sweet spot of having enough space so everything's functional. You've got everything you need. Not too little, not too much. And it's also more to clean as well.
That's also true. As I'm realizing with children as well, you definitely don't want to have too much space inside because then they'll never go outside.
Yeah, true.
Like you kind of want them to get a bit cabin fevery to be like, nah, let's get outside and go do something.
Yeah, especially like the younger generations that just have the world in their hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. I mean, that's kind of us as well. But
Well, yes and no. Like we still remember a time before phones.
That is true.
And like, I don't know,
That's nice.
this is like me being a little judgy Judy, and we'll get into things in just a moment. But I took Piper for a walk just before this, and there was this lady taking a walk around Vic Park, and I was like, oh, good on
Mm.
her. And, I was like, oh, she's probably listening to a podcast or something. And then like I saw her screen, and she's literally scrolling TikTok as she's walking around Vic Park. I'm like, what are you doing? Why? There's no need for you to be doing this right now. I don't understand. Yeah.
I see that all the time around here.
Yeah. Sad.
That's normal behavior.
Uh-huh.
It is sad. I think I guess it's what some people feel like they need to do to like escape their
Mm-hmm.
themselves or their situation.
Yeah. And it can be a bit rough in there. So like no judgment. Yeah. Better that than something else. So
No judgment, Alan, if you're listening to this.
Yeah, he's probably like sitting here with popcorn, like, I don't even need to edit this part yet. When are they going to get to it?
I didn't realize. I have been a bit stuffy in the last couple of days because Atafai's been sick. But yeah,
Mhm.
I didn't even notice that only my left was more resistant and my right was like perfectly clear.
Interesting, hey?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Well, it's if we were to look at it from that model of the world, it's likely that you've had a lot going on and you've been pushing quite hard, and you're likely in need of some rest and downtime. Is any of that resonating?
I mean, I don't know when it comes to that because I'm just like I'm so hard nosed when it comes to pushing through. So I've never really wanted to know for sure. But I'm trying to become more intuitive with those sorts of cues because I know I'm so bad at it from my logic side of the brain. So I'm trying to start building that awareness to these types of signals to not get so far down the track of just hammering the body past the point.
And that makes a lot of sense in that case. If you're like very often in your left brain, which your left brain is your right side of the body, then it makes complete sense that it's the left nostril that's blocked, which is the right brain that's like stuck. It's just not quite as flowing and fluid as usual. So it can even extend to like when you do stretches and one side feels tighter than the other. Like I personally always only have stuff going on the left side of my body because similarly to you, I'm a go-getter, achiever, let's go, go, go. And so it's like, no, stop, let me relax. Yeah, so the body speaks to us in mysterious ways. But thanks for trying that with me. You're the first podcast guest that I've taken through an advanced breath practice who hasn't done it before. So let's go. No box breathing here.
I was playing bad chess yesterday, so you're right. Like I lost so many games. That's actually something else that I've started to use as like an indicator to where my body's at, is if I'm playing good chess or not.
Yeah.
So when I play chess, I kind of learned this from Elon Musk. Does this? He plays computer games to see how dialed in his mind is, and if he loses, it's his body saying, "Okay, you're not as dialed in. Try not to do something that requires like 100% of your brain power today." And I was getting destroyed yesterday, so that would show that from like that perspective as well, that my mind is overworked and it's not at optimal decision-making capability.
100%. And this is what it comes back to. It's where like the model, the productivity model of the world that we have is just this like, we'll work harder, do more. But the chances are like, if your brain isn't fully dialed in, you don't have the capacity to tap into the creative thinking and problem solving and critical thinking that you might be if you had taken an hour out rather than just trying to. Yeah. What a great realization.
That is great. Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I can't believe that was an hour.
I know. We went a couple minutes over, so I do apologize about that. But it was just flowing so nicely.
In the zones.
We're in the zones. Oh my God, we could do like a secret podcast release at some point and just like, like deep, meaningful conversations with Jesse and Vic.
is actually funny. I caught up with a guy last week. I ended up having coffee with him about he was doing some consulting, and they had he had this opportunity, like this crazily massive opportunity that was like way out of my ballpark. But he wanted to catch up with me in person just because of what I've been writing on LinkedIn. And we were talking. We figured out like it wasn't really going to work. And after about 20 minutes, he's like, we're talking about some really deep stuff here, Jesse. I was like, oh, are we? This is just like normal chat. I don't know if this is deep or not. This is normal convo.
I know, right? Exactly. It's just how I roll. Like, that's just where you go. And I think that's probably why like our friendship is that strong as well, because we both gravitate there and we thrive in that space, whereas a lot of people are like, whoa, you don't just want to talk about the weather? Like, no, go away.
I just feel like with AI and how that plays out the next few years, if people can't actually have a real fucking conversation about themselves, like what's there to talk about? I could just talk to a robot if I wanted to talk about the weather. Yeah. In fact, a robot is probably more informative than a person about the weather.
Yeah. That's why I only come to like work drinks for an hour, because it's just A, you run out of small talk, and then B, people start to get drunk and you're diminishing returns on my time, which is one of my most important assets. So I'm out of here. I would rather sleep.
Yeah, actually.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on Resonance are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of me, Viktoria Levenberg, Live in Health, or anyone working within the Live in Health brand. This space welcomes a diversity of ideas, experiences, and stories, and part of Resonance is learning to take what aligns and gently leaving the rest. Also, while I am a national board certified health and wellness coach and deeply passionate about well-being, this podcast is intended for educational and inspirational purposes only. Resonance does not substitute personalized medical, psychological, or therapeutic advice. Always seek guidance from qualified professionals for any physical, emotional, or mental health concerns.